All right, here is a slower version of a Flexagon puzzle solution, and the steps that I've kind of named to kind of help you remember how to get through the process. So you could snap a picture of this screen so that you have it to look at, and we'll kind of go through each one. So this is what I call the large rectangle, and you want to try to get the large rectangle into the big square, or large, so big square. And notice there's some symmetry here, that the first step and the last step are the same and that they come in like this. And then there's a midpoint here. And once you get through this half of the steps to this midpoint, then everything else you're just trying to do backwards again. That's kind of a nice thing to know about the solution. So from the large rectangle, you have to get to the big square, and that can sometimes be a little awkward to get moving. So I would suggest setting the tube up on a skinny edge and then kind of pulling out the middle bits until it flops into a big square. Sometimes the seams will fight you on that. Let me see if I can show you what I mean. You start to pull this out, and as you pull, one of them might be coming in, and then you get something kind of weird like this. So you want the diagonal creases, this one and this one, to be going out, and see how that's kind of binding and going in. I just want to push that out so that it can come into a big square. And it's a big square on both sides, and then there's a crease. I don't want to fold it this way where there's not a crack. I want to fold it into now the big triangle, from big square to big triangle, so that there's a crease at the top that has two flaps inside. Now to get from the large triangle to the small square, I'm going to split those flaps, and then as I split them, I pull it apart, and it will, if I keep pushing, it'll go into the small square. That small square has little pockets on both sides, and if you pinch one side that's not the pocket here, then I'll be able to pull this out into what I call a house. So notice that step. From the small square, pull a pocket out, and then you'll get to the house. So there's the house. Then you want to pull the other pocket out to get to the small rectangle. So here's the pocket I pulled out to get the roof of the house. Then on the other side, there's still another pocket. And if I pull that one out, I will get to what I call the small rectangle. So you're almost to the midpoint now. The key is to switch the seams. So right now I have the two blue squares kind of in the middle and the two brown squares on the outside. And I'm going to switch the seams here so that now my blue squares are on the outside. So this small rectangle is just a tube, and I want to take this seam that is in the center of the front face and move it to the edge of the front face. That can be a little tricky. Now I'm just past the midpoint. That action of what I call switching the seams is the midpoint. And so now we want to go, we're at the small rectangle, and we want to get back to the house. And I do that by just pinching one corner, and then the other one wants to kind of flop when you do that. It doesn't matter which one. So if I pinch this one, then it'll kind of want to flop up and go to the house. If I pinch this one, then the back is kind of falling open. So I'm going to do it where you can see it. So pinch, and then let this kind of fall open and encourage it to do what it wants to do. And you get the house. And then this is the trickiest part for most students. From the house, look at the roof closely and notice that one side has a solid seam and the other side has a crack in the seam. That's the part that you want to push the roof down. So I'm at the house, push the roof down along that crack there and let it go back into the small square. And when you're pushing that roof down into the small square, there'll be a place where you can put your hand. Find the big pocket is what it says next. House, find the big hole inside the small square, and then that will let you get to the triangles. I'm going to go put it back at the house, and show you one more time how to get out of the house and back to the beginning. So this is starting here at the house. I'm going to push the roof down, and as I push the roof down, it ends up turning into the small square. Now that small square has a little pocket here and a little pocket here, but right here where it wanted to kind of sandwich my thumb, here's my house, and as the roof collapses down, if I push the roof down with my left hand, my right thumb is kind of getting hidden inside of the house. Do that one more time. Right thumb is hidden. And then where that right thumb is, if you keep pushing, then you'll be able to put your hand all the way up inside the big square, and then it will want to fall into the big triangle. And then you can unfold the big triangle, get to the big square, and then from the big square to the large rectangle, and you're done. Hopefully you remember that it was brown on the outside when I started. So quickly, big square, big triangle, flaps, split the flaps, they're kind of sticky, split those flaps, small square, pull out a pocket to the house, pull out the other pocket to the small rectangle, switch the seams, notice the brown is on the interior. Now the brown's more on the corners instead of the inside, and now I need to undo it all. So I am going to pinch a corner and let it fall. It wants to fall into the house. Then push the roof down, and if you push it so that as you push the roof down, this seam, I want that seam to open on the roof, on the crack in the roof. I want that seam to open. And then see now where my thumb is, coming down inside, and there's the big triangle, big square, large tube. If you're having trouble getting to the very first step to go, set it on its long face like this and start pulling those out. And if it doesn't want to go, then reach inside and tack those inner diagonals so that they go out. All right, good luck. Send me a video of you doing it when you get it.